What's up guys, Isaac Walton here, taking a look at the GitUp2 action camera. This camera takes all the awesome features in the GitUp1 camera that I reviewed in the past and then adds even more awesome features in the GitUp2. Got the ELE action camera over here. I've really liked it, but to be honest, the GitUp2 pretty much blows any other camera within the $100 to $150 price range out of the water. Fantastic quality. Take a look at some of the key features. It films at 1080p, 60 frames per second, up to I think 2.7K with a little bit of modification at a lower res. Also shoots photos 16 megapixels, true 16 megapixels. That's a big jump from the old GitUp1. And one of the features I'm most excited about that I'm going to demonstrate today in this video review is the Gyroscopic Stabilization. What that means is this basically has a sensor inside of it, and you can turn it on or off. When you're walking with it or filming, if that gyro sensor is on, it will attempt to slow down and take out some of the jitter, the shakiness that you'll see in action cameras that are usually under $100, such as the GitUp1 or the ELE action camera. Both great action cameras and ones I use a lot, but you have to use some sort of image stabilization feature after you're done filming. This one takes that out. This adds the image stabilization using a gyro within the GitUp2. Price range, it's looking anywhere from, I've seen it for about $110 to $145 online. Sort of depends if you get the professional version or the standard version, and if it comes with a waterproof case or not. I think the Pro version also may come with a little wristband remote that's also compatible with a GitUp1, so you can control it remotely. Now, like the GitUp1 and most other affordable action cameras on the market today, all the accessories that are included within that you saw in the unboxing are compatible with GoPro, as it's demonstrated right here. The case, however, is unique to the GitUp series, and I really like the case. I actually feel it's a kind of a nicer design than the typical SJ4000 or ELE action camera case. I'll just go ahead and open it. It opens on the side here. Pop it open. It is a waterproof case. I already tested it underwater. The camera design is virtually identical to the GitUp1. Batteries are compatible. Batteries are also compatible with the ELE or SJ cameras. You just slide this back right here, pull the battery out, slide it back on. It uses a USB port here. It's not the traditional tiny USB ports that like the ELE or SJ uses. It's a slightly larger one. This one does allow you to do audio out with a mic, an external mic. Very useful feature. HDMI cable, there's a mic right there. Audio quality is actually pretty good. I'll demonstrate that later. Micro SD button on the side. Our power button here, we'll go ahead and turn it on. And on the top, we've got the button that will allow us to start recording. So just a quick breeze through of some of the features on the camera. You've got your video feature. I've got that little red icon right there. A little hard to see on the screen. Let's see if we can optimize that. It tells you if the gyro's on or off. I'm at 1080p, 60 frames per second. And I can switch to, now I'm in the photography mode. Now I'm in the playback mode. Sorry, it's a little hard to see with the glare. And I can adjust the settings. There's a ton of settings to adjust. One thing that sets GitUp apart from a lot of other action cameras on the market today is the ability to really adjust the color, the exposure, ISO, and adjust the timing of shots. There is a time-lapse mode with a ton of different options. There's also a timer mode for the camera. Just a ton of customization. And GitUp is one Chinese action camera company that I will say has one of the highest levels of customer service available right now. You know, whenever there's a time change, or not a time change, but different time zones, we're in one part of the world over here in the USA. In China, they're operating at a different time zone. You know, there's always communication breakdown. It can be hard to reach a real company sometimes. I have not had that issue at all with GitUp. They've been fantastic from a customer service point of view. Little LCD screen on the back. This itself looks identical to the initial GitUp1, but once you get into the actual hardware that's on here and the features, you'll see it's a whole lot more powerful. The only real critique I have of the GitUp2, one that is also for the GitUp1, is basically the developers have not released a dedicated Android or iPhone app. There are two apps that are compatible, reportedly, with Android or iPhone for the GitUp series. One is Final Cam. I've used it a few times and I really just don't like it. It works, but I've used much slicker apps for accessing action cameras, like the ELE's app. But that's the only real downside of this camera, and it's definitely not a deal breaker, especially if you have the remote, which allows you to control the camera remotely. You really don't need the app itself. So in the past, I've really talked about features at length. I'm just going to give a list of some of the features in the description, the really important ones. I mentioned the ones I really like, the ability to shoot high resolution video footage at a high quality, at a high frames per second, up to 60 frames per second in 1080p, in addition to the gyro stabilization and the high quality 16 megapixel photos. There's a ton more features. I'll add that in the description. But let me just show you a lot of sample footage from this camera, okay? It's fantastic, and I think that's where one of the really strong selling points of this camera is. This is much more affordable than any GoPro camera that has similar features. And it's compatible with GoPro accessories. To me, it's a no-brainer. There's a lot of cameras that I'll get with action cameras that are more budget models, and they have a lot of, shall we say, downsides for the price. Maybe you're paying $50 and it's really cheap and you get fairly decent video, but you're still missing out on a lot of other features. This thing has premium features. Sure, you're paying a little bit more, closer to 100, 150, but I would argue it's worth it if that's, especially getting that gyroscopic stabilization. Okay, without further ado, let's take a look at some video footage, see how it looks.
What's up guys, Isaac Walton here for Hunting the River King. Just wrapping up this review for the GitUp2 action camera. I'm actually out filming on a creek right now. I usually do not film with the action camera and audio, but I get a lot of requests, especially recently on action camera videos, to see what, or actually hear what the audio is like. So I've taken the GitUp out of its case. Filming here on a creek. You can hear the creek kind of bubbling by. There's a little waterfall around the corner here. It's not in the waterproof case, so this is the audio quality at default. Now the GitUp2 does support a external microphone. You can plug in through the side USB port, something a lot of cheaper action cameras do not. You've probably noticed already, and I've been talking about this at length, the smoother footage on this camera. That's thanks to the gyro that I've enabled. Let's bring it down here. It's not perfect, but it's way better than not having a gyro. I am super excited about this camera. It is probably one of the highest quality budget action cameras you can get right now on the market, coming in anywhere from $140 to $100, somewhere in that range. Better than anything GoPro has to offer at that price range, and definitely a step ahead of a lot of the other budget ones I typically film with. Alright guys, Isaac Walton here for Hunting the River King, giving this GitUp 2 thumbs up, if I could, with one hand. Solid action camera, and one I highly recommend if your budget's a little bit higher than the usual $50 to $70 range where some of the other action cameras are. Alright guys.